Welcome for another live. It's Katherine. Second one of the new year, right? So, hi Annadette, good morning. Nicola's here, welcome. So, talking to you guys a little bit about loving people and judging people. Hi Lucas, welcome. Before I get started, do you guys have any questions for me? Kind of like to do a little of the Q&A first before we delve in. Good morning, Nana. Oh, thank you, Nicola. Appreciate it. Don't you hate when you have a sweater that's really itchy? I feel like my sweater is really itchy. Oh, thank you, Lucas. You guys are sharing the love with me. Brittany's here, yay! Nicola, do I think I look like Rachel Christensen? I don't know. I mean, we have the same skin tone and we're both sort of blonde. She's blonder than me. I'm like a dark blonde. She's like a regular blonde. I don't know if we look alike. I mean, I have a blue eye and she's got two blue eyes. We're both from the same state. I guess we could look alike. I have a friend that actually looks more like me than she does. Like my assistant Shar and my friend Shar, whenever people come over, they're always asking if she's my sister. Oh, hey. Look at, we've got Magnetic Entrepreneur here. Welcome. Happy New Year. Has the weather been unusual where you are, Annadette? Where are you? Are you in India? Am I remembering that correctly? Sub-Zero's here. Good morning. Derek's here. Can you please do a tap dance sometime? Oh, I don't know when it would ever call for that. VS, good morning. Christina's here. Do you guys have any questions for me? Oh, Nicola, I think that would be a good idea. That would be good in a script. Yes, good morning, Frank. Okay, Deli, did I say that right? Jacqueline's here. So, how are you guys with your relationships with other people? Do you ever find yourself judging other people rather than loving them? And do you think it's possible to do both? Nicola, have I met Allison Robertson? No, I have not. Okay, message me later. I'll talk to you then. Sergio, hi. Jarrell, welcome. So I didn't have time to do a deep dive study on this to like when I do a course or when I do a speech and I'm going really deep on something. Frank says, some people are upset about Dhar Mann Christmas special. They say Dhar put up old videos all in one. No, what he did, well, I mean, they weren't old videos. They were shot specifically for the feature. So because I talked to the director about it. They took, it was kind of like, gosh, I'm trying to remember the names of some of those movies. There's a bunch of movies where there's like multiple storylines and then the characters are cutting back and forth, like different stories happening at the same time. That was purposeful. They designed it to have the 4 different storylines. And I think the thing that tied them together was the Santa sleigh thing, because you could in multiple of the storylines, even the one that didn't have the Santa, the sleigh thing and I can't remember right now, but it was going through there and they looked up and they were like, what was that? And in completely different storylines that were not part of the Santa one. So it was actually designed to do that. Now he did then pull the 4 apart and show them separately, but it wasn't like putting 4 old videos together to pretend to make a feature. I don't think it was that at all. But I think it's some people aren't going to watch an hour and a half thing. Some people aren't going to watch an hour and a half thing at once. So they might not even see the feature, but they might watch the 4 separately. So it's kind of like different mediums for different people's tastes. For example, I have that online course, You Are Worthy, but some people, I have a lot of young fans, they want to take the course, or they feel like it, but they feel like it's at too high of a price point for them. So I reworked it, revamped it, cut it down, and putting it into a book, right? And the book's going to come out. So I think it's different mediums for different people. One of the big like self-help kind of gurus that I follow, personal development people, if you will, he wrote this book, but he also made a course on it, but he also does live events on it, but he also did a podcast one season that was basically the audiobook version. So I look at it like different people consume things in different ways and need it delivered in different ways. Yeah, well, you know, people are always going to have something to complain about. They call them armchair quarterbacks, right? People that are like, oh, just looking at the football game saying, I would have made this move, I would have made this play. It's like, well, you're sitting on your couch watching. So until you start creating videos, or until you start playing the football game, we don't have much to say, right? Christina says, Katherine, Norland, sometimes I have blue and gray eyes and sometimes green eyes. It's different with the weather or when it's raining. I have gray eyes when the sun comes out and I have blue. Interesting. I've heard of people's eyes kind of morphing to like what they're wearing. Like some people who have like a hazel eye with certain outfits, it can look more bluish or it can look more greenish, depending. Not everything that glitters turns out to be gold, Via says. We've got CJ here. Christina says, I have a question. When you act in Dhar Mann Studios, do you have papers for the role for how many weeks should you read for the video? I'm not sure if I understand the question, but are you asking how far in advance we get the scripts? Sometimes it's only a day in advance, and other times it's a week or two. Just depends. Like if someone drops out last minute and they're like, Katherine, we need you tomorrow. I may only have an hour or two the night before. One time, I think I mentioned this in the video, in one of my videos, the one where the mom accuses her stepson of being on drugs. I wasn't even supposed to be in that one. So I got called the day of, while they were at the location shooting. Everyone was waiting and they're like, can you come shoot this? I wasn't even supposed to be in it. I wasn't supposed to play James Troop's wife. But when Ricky showed up on set, her eyes got really wide and she saw the litter box, and she's allergic to cats, and there was going to be a scene where you're supposed to be like making the bed and fluffing it and sitting on this stuff where all the cats were. She could have ended up in the hospital. So she had to like go. You know. Oh, Anna did. Thank you so much for the gift. You are so kind. I appreciate it. So yeah, that's, sometimes you just don't know. Sometimes that happened to Shaunte. Her very first Dhar Mann video, she got the call the day of. They were on set waiting. Somebody couldn't show up, and they're like, can you come right now? And she's like, she lived far away. She was like minimum of an hour and a half drive away. They had to wait for her. She's since moved closer. Nana said she missed the Dhar Mann special. Sergio, yes, it's 8 a.m. over here. Nana, okay, that's questions for... Okay, let's see. I want Dhar Mann Plus. I couldn't purchase it in my country. Oh, the Dhar Mann Plus. Gotcha. It might not be available everywhere. Nicholas says, do you know Shaunte and Jovanna before Dhar Mann? No, I met them on set. So that's a first. So what do you guys feel like I haven't had a chance to like read through all this, like I printed out like 10, 12 pages of stuff to talk to you guys about today. I don't know if I'll get through it. Normally I would like sit and highlight it. Angela said, just coming out of church, saying hello. Well, hello there. Was I always a morning person, Frank wants to know. I think I was always more of a morning person than a night owl. I feel like my jobs were always early mornings, and yeah. I try to stay up. It's hard for me. It's harder for me now to stay up late. Like I used to just push myself through and like go. Mommy! What? What's up, cutie pie? You want to show that? You want to show your cool guy? You want to show your cool action figure? Who is that guy?
Mr. Heavy Legs.
He's Mr. Heavy Legs?
No.
Is that his official name?
No.
Thank you for the gift, Nicola. Yeah, you kind of have to be a morning person when you're a mom, I think. But I think I probably was before that. Like I used to work in factories. Factories always started early. I had a couple jobs in factories before God said, move to LA and be an actor. So I was just a regular down home, small town girl. Didn't think I'd see my way out of that place. Just sitting on an assembly line, putting parts together. Never imagined I'd be here today. Never imagined I'd have these little guys too, right? Okay, let me see. I missed some stuff. Angela, thank you for the gift. Derek, so kind. I appreciate you. Yay, number 1. Derek asks, where can I meet up with you and have you sign a copy of your new You Are Worthy book? Derek, the book's not even out yet. So there is no book for me to sign for you right now. But we can talk about that later when it actually comes out. If you were on last week, which I think you were, you'll know that I had to put my dad's book first because we don't know how long he's going to be on this precious earth with us. I don't know. Is it really that precious? Via says, do you think Socorro Jones is the new Ricky Yvette? No, I don't think anyone could replace Ricky. I think she's just another fantastic actress added to the arsenal. I don't think anybody can replace anybody. Everybody's so unique. No one would ever approach a role the same way. I think if you gave 200 of us actors the same character, we would all do it slightly differently with our own twist. So no, I don't think she's replacing her at all. But, you know, it's nice to have a variety of people. It's nice to have a variety of races and ethnicities represented, don't you think? Did you guys watch that one that came out, was it this last week? Where they had, was it Filipino? And they were speaking a little bit of Filipino in there, and the guy wanted to start a virtual restaurant. I like that one. That was a good one. Christina says, what will be in 2050? Will Dhar Mann videos change? What do you think? In 2050? I don't even know if he'll still be doing videos 30 years from now. What do you guys think? Maybe. I mean, for sure it's definitely going to change, because haven't you even seen a change over the last 4 years? Like, I recently went back and watched the first Dhar Mann video I was in. I was like, I mean, it had a good message, but wow, the quality has come so far, right? The scripts have gotten better. The characters have gotten more in depth. They've had more character arcs. It wasn't so black and white. The sound has improved. There's actually lighting now. Like, we actually have a crew now that lights things. You know, the first year, it was just Ruben, you know, he's got his camera, he's directing, and there was occasionally one light. Yeah, Frank's saying it's improved tremendously. You know, I don't think there's anything that I know of on YouTube that's as good of quality for the amount of content. So it's easy to find, oh, there's so many better films maybe on YouTube, but yeah, they took 3 months to plan it, 2 weeks to shoot it, you know, 2 months to edit it. Well, yeah, if you're putting out one film every 3 or 4 months, of course you can maybe get a better quality or better script. But for the amount of stuff that's coming out, I think you're hard pressed to find something that's even close. And then you also have to factor in, look, this is actually having a positive impact on people, a positive influence where people, you know, you may not know how it kind of permeates your life. You may be about to judge someone, as our topic for today, and then you stop yourself. You know what? I don't actually know what they've been through. I haven't walked a mile in their shoes. I don't actually know why they're doing what they're doing, right? So sometimes it's easy to go, oh, you know, this is maybe a silly example, but I had a friend, kind of don't see this person that way anymore, but when I decided to go vegan, she would say really like judgmental things, like, you're just so vain, you're just so into yourself. And I'm thinking to myself, what? Like, she's thinking I'm giving up eating animals because I'm like egotistical, which had nothing to do with it. I just started to be really concerned.
Look at my action videos.
Oh my goodness. I just started to be really concerned about the death, like people killing animals, and it was hurting my heart, and I felt terrible about it. And then I started reading the health benefits, and so like not to hurt animals and to be healthier. But you see, someone can judge what you're doing that has nothing to do with why you're doing it, right? Okay, can you get the volume down? Maybe you can jump on the trampoline without the sound effects. I moved my trampoline into this room. Maybe that was not a good thing. But I'm saying people will judge you based on what you do. They'll judge your intents of what you do. And sometimes the reason you do something has nothing to do. You know, like recently someone got mad at me because I did like an unboxing, or I showed a video of somebody, like a gift somebody gave me, and they were mad at me because they had sent me a gift and I didn't show their gift online. You know what I'm saying? That people, you know, when you get even in the limelight a little bit, people are like, oh, well, how come she did that? How come she didn't do mine? Oh, she likes them better than me. Oh, my gifts aren't good enough. Like, it's this whole thing, and I was like, I don't show everyone who gives me a gift or something. I'm not filming a box every time a box comes. Like, occasionally I have the time, I have the bandwidth, I have a few moments I can do it. But, you know, I'm only one person. I'm not like recording my whole life. Monday through Friday, usually I'm just sitting at my desk trying to create something trying to string some words together in a meaningful way. Most of my life is not worthy of filming, right? Right? Like, I've done a day in the life for you guys, I think once, and then like camping trip and, you know, out and about, but like just at home, I've done it once. I have another one planned for next month, but I think my life is kind of boring. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't seem like it from the outside looking in, but if I seriously film my life, you'd be like, do you ever get up from the computer? Okay, let me see what you guys have said. Yes says, what is wrong with all the evil nannies? Alex reviews being written on the same day. I don't know. And then P said, did Dhar Mann quit YouTube? No, of course not. I mean, I'm shooting next week. I've got shoots booked all the way into February. But I did notice he didn't post for a couple days. Maybe the editors weren't able to finish. You guys remember when I started posting regularly on YouTube, there would be days where the editor didn't finish editing my Friday video, so, well, maybe you don't know, maybe you thought it was all planned out, but I'd be like, I don't have a video, so I would go into my archives and find an old short film I acted in and put it up. Maybe you didn't know that, but that was like...
Is this mine?
This is mine, but you can have it, because this is the best flavor. You ever have Z-bars? They're like the little kid, the kid version of Cliff Bars. This is my favorite flavor. Oh, this just turned into a... It's not sponsored, but now I sound like Timmy. Guys, try Z-Bars. Chocolate chip is my favorite flavor. I had one of these last night. These are kind of like dessert. Oh, you want it? Okay, you can have it. At least he's not asking me. Yeah, put that in the trash. He's not asking me for potato chips in the morning. So, I did notice he didn't put a couple this week up. Or was it last week? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe they just weren't finished editing in time. Let's see. Looks like Eli's having fun. Emma says, Katherine, can you do spiritual talks? I feel my chakras are blocked. My spirit feels that I need a wine with blossom. I feel my spirit wants someone to love. I can feel my heart, but where am I? Those are a lot of interesting questions, Emma. I don't think, I'm not sure I know what you mean by a wine with blossom, but I don't think you need wine or alcohol to get unblocked. Have you tried prayer? Have you tried prayer? That's always a good place to start. So, can you, Christina says, I love the Dhar Mann video with Avery Preston. I have it all the time in my mind. Biggest spender. So, Brittany, I can't deal. People are funny. They have a lot of interesting comments. So, what do you guys think? Can you love someone and judge them at the same time? Or are those two very, very different things? Is that occupying the same space? It's interesting. You know, when you love someone, you actually try to understand them. You try to know where they're coming from. So I could use that example of my friend. I say it like that because there's so much that went down and happened after that incident. That wasn't just that incident that demolished the friendship. No, so much that when I write the NICU memoir one day, you'll see the main character was that person. The main nemesis. The main nemesis was that person that was just so judgmental, and you never saw the love. You know, it's one thing to be a friend who questions what a friend is doing for their own safety, right? For their own well-being. Like if I had a friend that was only, sticking on the same thing, was only eating one meal a day and it was bacon. I don't know. And you're like, honey, that's not going to be, I'm really concerned for you. That's one meal a day and it's just bacon. You're not going to be able to function, you know, your brain is not going to be able to function on that. You know, there's certain things you do it out of love, but if you're like, oh, you're just trying to do that keto thing because you're so vain, you're so into yourself, you just, you know, when you approach someone in a judgmental way, it's like you're playing the God card. You're acting like you know exactly why they're doing what they're doing, and you're slapping a judgment on them, and you're acting like you know all the reasons behind they're doing what they're doing. You know, even people who, you know, sometimes, obviously we all know stealing is wrong, but I had a friend once who, at a time, she was homeless and she was living in a tent with her 2 or 3 year old little boy. And she had no money. and there was a time in her life where she went into a grocery store. She felt like she had no alternative, but she would steal food. She would steal loaves of bread or whatever so her kid wouldn't starve. So, you know, knowing the motives behind something is much different than just judging someone by their actions. And I have a course that I'm writing and putting together called You Are Loved. It's kind of the follow-up to You Are Worthy. And I get into a lot about what we do, why we do it, how God sees it, how He judges us. But you know, if you just go back to the book of Samuel, I think it's 1 Samuel 17, somewhere around there. God is saying, God is saying, man judges by the outward.
1, 0.
By the outward, but God judges by the inward content of the heart.
It's my turn.
Oh, hold on. We interrupt this regularly scheduled program with an ad from Timothy John.
I try to blame on artificial colors and flavors from Oreo.
Yes, I'm tired of artificial colors and flavors from Oreos.
Introducing
JoJo's, you can say the name.
the really yummy. Get one today, local Trader Joe's.
Okay. Thank you, Timmy.
I try birthday. Oh, I never tried birthday Oreos.
Yeah, but you just had birthday Annie's Bunnies, birthday cake Annie's Bunnies.
That's also good.
Yeah. Okay. And what's your next line? Not sponsored, by the way.
I'm sorry, I forgot about that one.
Yeah, that's what you normally say. You usually say, not sponsored, by the way.
Not sponsored, by the way.
So, oh, Eli's drinking my lemon water. Is that so sour? Please be careful. That's a glass jar.
Oh no, I gotta get out of here. Bye-bye.
Yes, JoJo's is like somewhat healthier version of Oreos. They have the vanilla ones that Pooh has and the regular brown and white ones.
Before I rip you off.
So we can see what people do, but we can never know the intent of their heart, right? And if someone's always wanting to pick a fight, always telling you what you're doing wrong, you know, look at Proverbs. Hatred stirs up strife, but love covers all offenses. So that's like, you do something wrong, your friend's like, you know, I'm going to cover that. I'm going to, you know, it's not like hiding people's indiscretion. And honestly, when it talks about love here, it's talking about God. God is love. Love covers offenses. God covers offenses. So we're not supposed to owe anybody anything except love. Like that's the main thing, is that we're supposed to love people. And maybe you guys have heard the scripture that says, judge not lest ye be judged. Well, it's because with the same measure that you dole out the judgment, that same measure is going to come back to you. What we have to remember is, you know, loving and judging are two different things. Some people may think, well, I'm only judging them because I want them to be okay and I love them. But who knows, you know, when you guys go to weddings, the number one scripture read at weddings is the love scripture found in 1 Corinthians, right? So now think of, in your mind, think of judging, judgmental stuff versus the description I'm going to give of love. So as I read what love is, you tell me, does that same description fit for judging? Love is patient. Is judgment patient? Like, are you, when someone does something, as a judgmental person, patiently waiting to see, like, why did they do that? Or are they quick to be like, you this, right? Did you guys see the biker video that came out recently for Dhar Mann? Quick. Karens are quick to judge. When you're playing those certain characters, they're quick to point out another person's fault without getting to know them, without the patience. So love is patient. Love does not envy. Okay? Is somebody saying something to you? because they're actually envious? Are they judging your motives because they're envious? Ooh, here's this next one really sets apart love from judgment. Love is not arrogant or rude. How many times do you see judging being arrogant or rude? Right? Like almost every time. Almost every time you're judging someone, it's arrogant or rude. Oh, here's another one. Love does not insist on its own way. It's not like, it's my way. It's not, we're doing it my way. Love is like, let's see what's good for both of us, right? What's going to work out for both of us? It doesn't have to be one or the other. I have a whole little thing I talk about in my part 2 of the You Are Worthy course. And it's giving examples of how this can work out in real life. Frank is saying love is fate. I don't know what you mean by that. You'll have to expound upon that. Love does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with truth. Oh, here's a good one. Love is not irritable or resentful. How many times is judgment irritable or resentful? I'm judging. You know, people get like, oh, that rich person is, and they say bad things because they assume or they judge that the rich person had to do something wrong, immoral, or illegal to get there. But that's not true. And media has perpetuated this lie. And like anytime you watch a movie with the bad guy, some evil, greedy, money hoarding person or some businessman, like they've made it so business people are always evil. This country would not be running if we didn't have businesses. We would not be able to get food, to get anything, clothes, anything, if we didn't have businesses running. Hello, we would not have jobs if businesses didn't run, which means we would not have income. So the way they vilify businesses in the media is wrong. And how they act like big corporations always are just trying to step on the little people. And that's not true. You know, it's the same way you see how they portray women in the media. Like, isn't it shocking? Like a couple movies recently I watched, and they actually had a woman about the same age cast as the wife. Wow. You know, watch movies from the 80s, 90s, 2000s, whatever, and you're going to see the women, the wives or the girlfriends are always a minimum of 20 years younger. So it's the point where you're like, oh, you watch a movie and there's actually like the same age people married, and you're like, ooh, how come that guy's with that old lady? Because we've been so programmed to believe these lies. I have a couple friends, one from church and one who may or may not be on this live stream, that they're married to men like 10, 15 years younger than them. That is unusual in this day and age, and that is never portrayed in the media. So it's interesting how we got on that. Love bears all things. Love believes all things. Love hopes all things. Love endures all things. Love never ends. Prophecies will pass away. Tongues will cease. Knowledge will pass away, but love does not end. Love never ends. Let me look at some of your guys' comments, because I see you guys were typing away as I was reading about love. Okay, we have got, yes, VS, I did watch the Dhar Mann episode where the dad wins the lottery and leaves family. Christine says, do you know Miranda Sings? She's a YouTuber and actor. I don't know Miranda. Frank's not a fan of weddings. He skips out on them. Why is that? Why do you not like weddings? Have you ever had a wedding? Did you have a wedding of your own once? Did that give you bad memories, or is it something different? You got us curious now why you don't like weddings. I love weddings because usually there's a dance party afterwards. That's always the most fun part of weddings, is going to the dance after. Just letting loose. I haven't been to one in so many years. Jordan says, I think they're two different things, but they're part of one another. That's just my opinion. Love and judgment. Now, there's also the theory of be an inspector of the fruit, right? The Bible talks about, don't judge, but at the same time it talks about inspect someone's fruit. So what does that mean? If you're a tree, what kind of fruit do you bear? Are you bearing healthy fruit that's going to sustain, or are you bearing rotten, sour, bitter fruit? So, for instance, if you're a parent, you're going to want to inspect the fruit of people who come into your child's life and who want to be their friend or who want to have part of their life. You're not doing that in a, I'm judging you, I think you're evil, I think you're wrong. But if someone has, for instance, if someone has a criminal record and they've been arrested for child abuse, I'm guessing it's probably a good idea to inspect that fruit and decide, you know what, if I'm going to be your friend, I'm going to hang out with you, not when my kids are with. And I'm not going to leave you alone with my kids. You know what I'm saying? You have to be wise. You have to be an inspector of fruit. Yes, people can change. People can be different. But if you know someone has a history of hurting children, you're not going to leave your children with them, right? So I know someone who had a little girl, and she was dating a man who had been imprisoned for hurting children. So to me, that's not wise, right? and you want to do that with your kids too, If you have a teenage kid and they want to go hang out at their buddy's house, I want to know, are their parents going to be home? What are their parents' history? What are they in a, I don't know if stable family is the right thing. Are they going to be supervised, or is the parent the kind of parent that just is like, oh, whatever, I just let the kids, I just let the boys and girls play together in the room, lock the door, I leave. You don't want your teenagers to be like in a party situation where there may be alcohol or drugs and there's no parental supervision, right? That's just smart. It's just wisdom. It's protecting your child. You can raise your child correctly and right, but they can still make bad decisions because of peer pressure. So, you know what I'm saying? I know what I'm saying. Okay. Let me see what you guys are saying. Okay. Nana said, it was just suggested to me that instead of judging this person as doing something wrong, which breeds resentment, try to look at it like agreeing to disagree. Yeah, that's so much better. You're like, well, you think that, but I think this. I don't need to fight with you about it. I respect that you have this opinion, and I'm sure you came by it by careful thought. I just don't see it that way. It's like that in politics, right? It's so sad when I see people breaking up friendships over who they vote for. It's like, really?
Mommy!
Come on. What's up?
My brother's not going to church with me.
Of course he's going to church with you.
No, he's sleeping today.
Oh, he can go back to sleep. I'll wake him up when it's time to go. Don't worry. Frank says, I believe certain people are meant to meet each other at certain times and are meant to be together. Not everyone gets to experience this, unfortunately. Yeah, I can totally see that point of view.
Yeah.
For sure. And keep prayerful about it. Keep, if you have a desire to meet somebody, to meet your soulmate, or to, meet someone, don't maybe give up or throw in the towel or get down about it if it hasn't happened yet. And yeah, I just think sometimes it happens for different people at different times in life. I have a friend who's in her 70s who's never been married. She's still looking for love. Not everyone meets their spouse as a teenager like I did, right? That's probably pretty rare, and even more extremely rare to still be together because you grow so much. Like, I am seriously a completely different person than the person Rob married, except for like cleaning the house. I still don't do that. No, I do it more. I do it more than I used to. I do it a little more. But as far as like, I was a hot mess. I was a pill to be around. He put up with a lot. I put now, like, the roles have reversed. Now I put up with stuff. Not really. Not really. Yeah, that's what marriage is, right? You go into it with eyes wide open, and then once you're in it, you kind of go in eyes half closed. You're like, well, I'm just gonna look at the good traits, right? I'm just gonna see the good. I'm just gonna see the good in that person. That's kind of what you have to do, right? Let's see. Sub-Zero says, love is strong. It only cares for joyful giving. Oh, is that a Michael Jackson quote? All right. Let's see. International English Club wants to know if I listen to Jennifer Lopez. I do not. Jordan says, well, it's not that I think the business people are evil. I just wish they would learn the law and not discriminate against people and not have service dog guidelines. Yeah, some people don't understand the service dog thing. Well, and unfortunately, Jordan, there's a lot of people that take advantage of the service dog situation, because I know people who get their dogs certified as a service dog, not because they need a service dog or a comfort dog, or they need that to function. They do it out of convenience because they want to bring their dog with them. They don't want to leave their dog home. And I have seen businesses and landlords getting frustrated over people taking advantage of that. Does that make sense? Like, a lot of times, I've seen it in LA where, and I'm not saying this out of like, I don't know the person. Like, some people will say, oh, they don't really need one because people don't see anything physically wrong with someone, not knowing that they have some kind of anxiety or something where they need that comfort dog or whatever. But I know this from people I know who've admitted to me, oh yeah, I don't really need a service dog. I just had it qualified for one because it makes my life easier to be able to bring my dog with me, and then I don't have to get a dog sitter and da-da-da. Like, I know people who've taken advantage of that. So, yeah, that's tough. That's tough. All right, so you guys are saying love is about having a good heart, says Nicola. Jarrell's talking about the age thing in the movies as well. Christina says God gives us love. We got Hannah saying hello. And Tinky Winky saying hello. Hannah says, I always tell my youngest brother Jeremiah that I love him, and I show him that I mean it, and he's 14 years old. I am so heartbroken when I hear about people who said their parents never told them that they loved them. I just cannot imagine. Like, I can't stop myself from telling my kids multiple times a day and giving them squeezes and cuddles, and it just bubbles out of me. But I guess people who've never got it and have never experienced it, they have a much harder time passing it on and showing it. And also, sometimes generationally, like my parents' generation, they were kind of raised to be stoic, and you don't show their feelings, and especially for men, you don't tell people how you feel, you don't talk about it, you don't, I mean, I don't remember a lot about my childhood. I don't remember a lot of it, but I can honestly say, I mean, this doesn't mean it didn't happen, but I don't ever remember seeing my parents hug or kiss. I mean, they obviously did because my brother and I are here. But you know what I mean? I didn't see public displays of affection. I have a poem I'm writing called about public displays of affection, or the 5-second rule. It's going to be in my Hollywood book whenever I decide to write that. I've been working on it little by little. Okay, Christina says, Katherine, why are some parents today say boys can't play with dolls and girls can't play with cars? Do you know why? I mean, I'm sure they all have their own reasons. I kind of let Eli play with whatever he wants to play with. Currently, he's into dinosaurs and action figures, but I don't know if I mentioned this. One time we were at church and they were giving away toys, and they had what you would say is stereotypical boy toys, and they had what would be stereotypical girl toys, and he wanted the pink, like, Barbie house or whatever, and because they let him pick a toy, I was like, okay, that's what you want. I'm not gonna like say, oh, you can't have that because boys don't like. Why can't boys have a house to play with? You know, you can always, if he doesn't like the color pink, we can always spray paint it another color. But I just was asking him questions about it. Oh, you want that cool house? All right, you gonna have your army guys live in there? Like, what you gonna do with that? You know, you gotta let them explore. You can't, I don't know, you can't make them feel so self-conscious about toys. You know, sometimes kids just want to play with whatever toys they want to play with. It doesn't mean anything about them. I think, you know, what's difficult in this kind of the era we live in now is people are quick to judge. Well, here we go, back to the topic of judging, right? People are so quick to judge that they automatically assume something about how you identify yourself or your sexuality based on something outer, like the clothes you wear or the toys you play. Like, a lot of times that has nothing to do with it.
Is this
right?
mine?
That is totally yours. You want to put it on?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. You can wear that. You can put that
I
on.
need a cape on.
You need your Batman cape? Okay, you can put on your Batman sweatshirt first. But that again goes back to judging.
But how?
What are we judging people for and why?
But how to put this on?
You don't know how to put your sweatshirt on? I was just seeing if I missed some of you. Brittany says she really inspects the people who hang out with her daughter. Yeah, you have to. You got to keep them safe.
Mom!
Yes, Eli?
You have
Okay.
to put on this.
Lucas says, is there another Dhar Mann episode you're in? You know, probably. I don't know. I mean, I'm shooting one next week. One came out recently. You know that one came out recently where I had the video game, where I was doing the video game challenge, the Minecraft challenge with my son. I shot that months ago. I forgot about it. When it came out, I was like, oh, I forgot about that one. So I don't know if they have some like tucked away that were shot that they didn't put out. But I was like, oh, I didn't even remember I did that one. Nicholas says, don't let other people's opinions change you. Make your own judgments. I experienced friends I was close by betrayed me. Yeah, been there. Friends abandon you. You're right. Jordan says, Katherine, that means a lot because I'm visually impaired and autistic. And I've never been in a relationship, and I wonder I'll be in a relationship. You know, you absolutely could. You absolutely could. And if that's a desire of your heart, then keep praying about it. Keep praying, you know, God, when is this person going to come? Do you need me to be different? Do you need me to change? What do I need to do to find it? Well, can you come here so I can help you? Come step over here. You're putting your arm in the wrong hole. Hello? Hello? There you go, silly goose. I would just keep praying about it and see what God is telling you about it.
I don't know where my other arm goes.
You don't know where your other arm goes? It goes in the other armhole. Here, try this. Oh, you silly. You're a silly goose. Okay. Let's see. Brittany says, never ever do I try to judge, but common sense is just not common anymore. I know. So we have to be an inspector of the fruit, right? What? It totally pushes down. There, you look awesome. You look like a superhero.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are.
Because I need this jacket to go outside.
Okay, but you can't go outside without shoes on, so just saying. Okay, let's see what else you guys have said. Let's see, we've got Lena here. Let's see. Lena says, can you motivate me, Miss Motivation? Okay, there's somebody on here, Miss Motivation. And I guess Lena's wanting to talk to her. Okay, sometimes I start reading the comments, I'm like, oh, this wasn't meant for me. Sub-Zero says, where were you in the year 2003? I was here in LA, just fresh off the boat, trying to figure out an acting career. Oh my gosh, Derek. Have I creeped you out? If so, I'm so very sorry. I don't quite know what you're referring to. Maybe that's best for a conversation, not on here, since I know you. Is it Ya? Is it Yaya? Yaya Jama says, I love watching your videos. You are very beautiful. Oh, thank you. Y Tram says, sorry, I'm late. Christina says, I don't like some parents who say how yelling to their kids, I would dress my son with pink color and my daughter and stop judging it. Doesn't matter if kids play with unisex toys. Yeah. Let kids play. Just let kids play. Quit trying to like micromanage their play sessions. I mean, if they're not playing with matches and dynamite and knives, that's how they learn, right? They have to explore. It doesn't mean anything about them. Jordan says there's also a saying because me and my link worker, Colin, we talk about it that real men wear pink. And Miss Motivation says, my big sister's a tomboy and she gets made fun of at college. And it's sad when people bully her. It's sad when people bully you. Nobody should be judged, right? God tells us in John 15:12, this is my commandment to you, that you love one another as I have loved you. What would it look like? What would it look like if we started loving one another the way God loves us, right? Ooh, gonna get into that in my You Are Loved course. What would it look like? Can you give me some examples? If I started loving you the way God loves you, what would I do? I'd be. Here's the thing. Love isn't always fluffy. Love isn't always wonderful feelings. Love isn't always cotton candy. Love isn't always late night partying, having fun. Sometimes love is hard. Sometimes it will cause you to do things that aren't fun, that you don't like. Like, if I love my kids, I'm not going to let them stay up to midnight eating Snicker bars, right? That's not love. Love sometimes looks like hard work. Love sometimes looks like forcing the kids to go to bed at a decent time so they can stay awake in school the next day. Love sometimes looks like eat your vegetables, right? Love is not always going to Six Flags every weekend. Sometimes love is playing board games or going for hikes. That can still be fun, but sometimes love is disciplining your body to lift weights. Love is not just sitting on the couch, Netflix and chill, right? So sometimes people have a misperception of what love should be and what it looks like. Nana says, sometimes love looks like speaking the truth in love to someone, right? So you have to tell someone sometimes where they're hurting you, where they're steering you wrong, where they're steering their own life wrong. Honey, it really is not smart and kind for you to play by the railroad tracks. I don't want anything to happen to you. Sometimes love looks like reining somebody in and keeping them close, not letting them go off and do whatever they want at all hours of the night. And though your kids and teens may go against you, they may rebel, they may say, oh, you're an old fuddy-duddy, or you don't understand, or you don't know what it's like. Secretly, they respect the parameters. There's friends I knew that I grew up with that it seemed cool that they could do whatever they wanted, whenever they wanted, but in truth, that feeling of not having parents be strict and rein them in made them kind of feel like they weren't loved, like my parents don't care about me. They have no rules for me. Sometimes a parent thinks, oh, I don't want my kids to feel like I'm being too hard on them. I want to be their friend. But they don't have the certain parts of their brain even totally developed till like they're 25 to even make the right decisions. That's why insurance companies charge more money to male drivers under 25, right? Because that part of their brain where they're really like making correct decisions, not based on adrenaline or woo or anything else, doesn't always kick in right away. So if you are a shepherd of someone, if you are a parent of them, you sometimes have to say the truth in love, like Nana said. And there's been times where I've had friends sit me down and say, hey, I think you're going the wrong direction. Did it sting a little at first to get reprimanded? Yes. But if you're not listening to God, sometimes He's going to send people into your life. That's why it's so much better and so much easier to just have that close communion with God, to be talking to Him, to be praying with Him, asking God to guide you where He wants you to go, so you don't have to have somebody come up to you like the prophets of old and say, here's where you're heading to doom. Like, you don't want to hear that from others. So have that close relationship with God. But it's important for us too to be bold and you know, if you see someone going down the wrong road, in a road that's harmful to a bad relationship or something else, love is going to say something to protect them. So here's the difference. Love may sometimes hurt you by what it says, but it will not harm you. So I was watching a video from Myron Golden recently, and he was talking about he got some chemical in his eye at work or something. And then his friend came along and he was spraying saline salt water into his eye. That hurt. That hurt initially, but he had to do that to help him. Now, if he didn't spray that saline solution into his eye, he would have been harmed. Harmed is more permanent. You don't want to harm people, but sometimes telling them the truth in love will hurt them. It will sting a little. I know I've used this example many times, but when I was learning to write poetry better, and my poetry coach and mentor, I gave him a stack of my poems and I said, you know, can you go through these and show me what I could do to make these better? And he slammed the stack down after a few minutes of looking through them and said, it needs to be redone. And I said, which one? And he said, all of them. That really hurt. That really hurt. But he was right. And I would to go through them, and I was like, I see what he means, because he would put little notes on, like, okay, the scansion on this is not good. The iambic pentameter is not good on this. You need a better metaphor. This is too redundant, whatever it was. You know what? If he didn't say anything, that would have harmed me. That would have harmed me, because I would have published or put out a book that wasn't good. Do you understand? So sometimes when someone has to say the truth in love, it can hurt at first, but it's for your ultimate good. And those who love you need to have those tough conversations with you sometimes. So when they do, it's for your benefit, not to harm you, but to help you and steer you in the right direction. Does that make sense? Okay, I can answer a couple more questions. Let's see. What, Katherine Norland, do you know LazyTown or Malcolm in the Middle? I don't know LazyTown, but I was in an episode of Malcolm in the Middle. I co-starred in an episode of Malcolm in the Middle, the Miss Tri-County episode, so if you want to look that up. Okay, Yaha Jama, you probably are new here, because you're asking me if I've heard of Dhar Mann. I have. I've heard of him. I like his videos. I watch them. Let's see. How many kids do you have? She's asking. Well, or she or he, I don't know. I have two. I have two boys. Jordan says, look at it like constructive criticism in life. I noticed today that going out the window with people, if you call people out, they call you a hater. That's the thing. Everyone is so precious. You know, sometimes what we call being cyberbullied or people being haters or hate speech really isn't. We've just become so like needing our safe little space and bubble that we can't even take someone who has a different opinion than us. Like someone who thinks or believes differently than you do on whatever topic, if they voice their opinion, we're like, that's hate speech, that's evil, that's mean. And then we try to silence them. We try to cancel them. We try to shut them down. And that's just so immature. We will never learn unless we hear other people's opinions. We would not know what hot was unless we've experienced cold. So, agree to disagree, right? I think that's all right. Love you guys. I'll see you next week.